Alright, man, Jimmy High Roller back at it again with another video.
In the world
I've been
of sports,
holding off
anything can
watching
happen.
this
I
video by
remember when
myself.
this shot went in
I
and
want to watch it
thinking
on stream
in
with
that
you guys,
moment,
so
I just
let's see what
witnessed
Jimmy
history.
High Roller put
Or
out.
when this shot had the entire basketball world standing still for what felt like an eternity before falling in and causing a chain reaction of events that would
Facts.
change the course of the NBA.
No cap.
Or the exact moment we all knew a 3-1 comeback in the finals was brewing, when we knew something big was going to happen and we would all be there to witness it. But despite all the seemingly impossible feats that we've seen take place, of all the improbable comebacks and unlikely stories, there is still one endeavor throughout NBA history that has yet to be accomplished. The 0-3 comeback. A
0-3.
deficit that 151 different teams have found themselves
Nobody's
in,
ever done it.
and none of them managed to pull off, including the team that I bet on.
The Heat are going to the
NBA Finals. Yes, sir. That
Today's
nigga said
video
that-
is sponsored
I remember
by the
Jimmy
Lady
said the
Gaga.
Celtics are
I'm
going to be the
filled
ones
by
that
best.
repeat
Just head
and
over.
win the chip.
After falling to 0-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals against Miami, the Boston Celtics were given a 12.5% chance of winning the series. Odds that seemed unrealistically high considering no team has ever pulled off the dreaded 0-3 comeback. But after rallying together and rattling off 3 of the most important wins of their season, the Celtics found themselves with an opportunity to make history. Coming off of one of the most improbable
Craziest
last-second
game
buzzer
winners
beaters to win
ever.
Game 6, they had
Craziest
all the
game winners
momentum.
ever.
The Heat were deflated. Everything was in Boston's favor. My playoff prediction had somehow been resurrected. Hope was still alive. And
Man,
so
fuck
what did the
Boston.
Celtics do?
Fuck Boston.
They put together one of the most piss-poor Game 7 performances
Trash
I've
ass team.
ever seen in my life. If you
Trash
never
ass
hear me utter Jaylen Brown's name on this channel again, do not wonder why. Here's an idea. Learn how to dribble a basketball and stop shooting threes. And I would give Jason Tatum a pass for his Game 7 performance since he was playing on a bum ankle, if he didn't shoot 2 for 18 from 3 in his
2
last
for
3
18?
games. 11.
Get! 0 for 8, 1 for 6. Get! JT, what are you throwing up? Nigga? You don't need to be texting nobody but to God.
7% from
Texting
3
Kobe right
in
now, man.
consecutive playoff elimination games. Brother, hit a shot. And don't even get me started on Caleb first-team All-NBA Martin. God forbid he just plays like a normal player against the team that I bet on. No, he has to morph into a human flamethrower for 7 games
human
and rip the hearts out of
flamethrower.
whatever Boston fans are left after this monstrosity. Have y'all seen Caleb's splits from the Eastern Conference Finals? 19 points per game, 60% from the field,
19
and
points per game
49%
is
from 3.
49%
That's
from the
74% true
three.
shooting percentage for the series. The man makes $6 million a year and
6
outplayed
million.
Mr. $100 million contract, second team All-NBA Jaylen Dribble Off My Foot Brown.
Jaylen dribble off my foot fucking Brown. Facts.
Series. The man makes $6 million
That nigga
a
Jimmy's
year
funny.
and outplayed Mr. $100 million contract, second team All-NBA Jaylen Dribble Off My Foot Brown. I am sick to my stomach. But I gotta give credit where credit is due.
Heat
The
got
Miami
the
Heat are
buckets.
tough.
The
They've got a
Heat-
great
the Heat got
team
the
with a bunch
buckets.
of guys ready and willing to do whatever it takes
Yep,
to win.
exactly.
There's no ego, there's no drama, it's just great basketball. A few weeks ago, I said that as sports fans, we love the underdog story, despite the fact that it very rarely happens. Well, it
The
just
Heat
did.
are the
Because the
definition.
Miami Heat are just the second 8 seed in NBA history
Damn.
to make it to the NBA
Second
Finals.
is crazy.
The last team to pull this off were the New York Knicks in the lockout season of 1999. But what the Heat have done this postseason has actually never been done before. Because the worst regular season team to ever make the finals in the modern NBA were the 1981 Houston Rockets, who somehow made the finals
What? They
despite
made the
having a
finals?
losing record in the regular
Bro,
season.
I didn't even know that the Heat this year only had a 53 win percentage. That's crazy.
But this year's Heat team is the first team since the 1959 Minneapolis Lakers to make the finals while carrying a negative point differential throughout the regular season,
they had a
which
negative
means
point
the Heat were essentially a below average team that somehow made it to the NBA Finals.
That's wild.
So how does a team with absolutely no business even leaving a mark on the postseason manage to make it to the final stage just 4 wins away from an NBA title? Well, I want to take a moment to touch on a subject that I don't think gets talked about enough: the alpha. You know how in modern NBA discourse, whenever anyone brings up Mamba mentality, they're laughed at and dismissed like whatever they're referring to doesn't actually exist, or that it's even a misconception of some sort. To this day, especially older fans of the game will talk about how the greatest players of all time had the
Mamba.
don't make me say it.
The killer mentality.
Over the-
The killer mentality. That's what the old generation used to say, that killer mentality.
Had the don't make me say it. Killer mentality. Over the years, this was a critical talking point among NBA fans on why some players found success in defining moments while others continued to fall short. This narrative in particular began to lose its credibility sometime over the last half-decade or so, as any player who didn't win a title was labeled as soft or lacking the killer mentality, despite there being about a million other factors that were failed to be considered.
That's true.
But we just saw firsthand what grit and determination and
Jimmy
integrity
Buckets?
and this elusive killer mentality
Jimmy's
that we've
different.
been dismissive of for years
Jimmy's
can do
different,
for a
honestly.
player and a team.
Jimmy's
Is Jimmy
different,
Butler
bro.
more talented than Jason Tatum? No. And it's not particularly close. Is Caleb Martin nearly as talented as Jaylen Brown? Well, after this last series, I'd sure as hell say so.
Oh,
But really,
Josh
no.
with the
Jaylen is the
resub.
far more
Appreciate
talented
you,
player.
my guy.
Should Gabe Vincent
Appreciate
and Max
you,
Strus be
Josh.
starting throughout
My
an
G.
entire conference
W
final
resub,
series?
my
Well,
guy.
if talent
Let's
was
get
the
a game.
deciding factor, then no. But it's not.
Facts.
When you've got a leader who is willing to do whatever it takes to win and makes no excuses, rises to the occasion, and has the guts,
Jimmy Butler
no,
did that
the
fucking
audacity
shit.
to take on any challenge that stands in
Jimmy
front of him,
Butler
that
did that
mindset
shit.
becomes
Yes, sir.
contagious.
Appreciate you,
Slowly,
Josh.
everyone on
My
your
guy.
team begins to believe,
You about to have
even
those sub
if it's
badges on the way
irrational,
soon.
that they
You
too
got my guy
are
creating
capable
them,
of anything. One of the reasons
Steph
why I have
creating the
Kobe
sub
Bryant
badges,
ranked
so
so high
sub
among my
badge will be
all-time
up there
greatest
soon,
players,
bro.
among other reasons, was his attitude towards the game. His fearless approach to whatever or whoever stood in his way was at times a fault, sure, but it was always daring and unashamed. Kobe missed a lot of shots, but one
That
thing he
Warzone
never
on
did
Sunday
was be
at
afraid to
5,
take
man.
them. Not even for
I-
a
alright,
moment
so I
in his
get off
entire
work at
career
5:30,
did he ever doubt
and
himself.
my girl gets off
Kobe,
at 6,
similar
so
to Michael
I
Jordan,
probably won't
and
be
what
home
we're seeing in
till
Jimmy Butler
probably like
was the
6:30
alpha
at the
of all
latest,
alphas.
if I do
If
come
they were
home
on your
tomorrow.
team, winning was not guaranteed. But one thing that
Oh, Josh with the... Oh my gosh, I gotta pause the video. Josh with the freaking gifted sub to my boy, Balling Craze. Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Josh, bro.
was certain
W, Josh,
was that
bro.
if they're going down,
W
they're
fucking
going down
Josh.
swinging. What I saw from the Celtics, and
W
even on
fucking
a
Josh.
larger scale
I gotta
throughout the
reset
league,
my,
is
sub
almost
alerts.
some sort of
My
mass
sub alerts and my
extinction
gifted alerts,
of the
bro.
killer mentality.
had alerts
We
for
always
those.
talk about talent and potential and skill set.
Oh, Josh with another gifted sub to Craig. Nah, that's wild. This boy out here gifted subs. Appreciate you, Josh. This nigga gifted subs, chat, bro. You need to keep that money in your pockets, boy. Need to save up for them Warzone bucks, nigga. Need to save up for them COD bucks to go get you a no little package, nigga. A little gift package, boy. Say that
That's
money,
who
boy.
can get a bucket.
Say that
but
money.
what
Appreciate
about the
the
guy
love, though, Josh.
who refuses
Appreciate
to
the love,
lose?
bro.
How many of those guys exist in today's NBA? Sure,
need to go
Jason
save up
Tatum
for
is
them fucking
talented,
COD
but is he
points.
truly willing to go to hell and back to win? The idea
All
of a
love,
player
brother.
who possesses an
Appreciate it.
unshakable
Appreciate
will
it,
to
Josh. Hey, we
win
gonna
at
have to,
all
we-
costs,
we gonna
a
have to
killer
talk
mentality,
about that,
is not just
IRL
some sort of
content, though.
myth built up on
gonna have to
nostalgia
talk about the,
or personal
IRL
bias
shit.
or narrative. It is a real,
in, Josh.
tangible thing. It's funny because Jimmy Butler isn't nearly the best player in the NBA, and yet we can't help but to see shades of Michael Jordan in him when he's on the court. It's not because he's an era-defining talent. It's not because he can defy gravity or inspire an entire generation.
We gonna be
It's
up
because
soon,
he's a
brother.
winner,
On my
a
mama.
leader,
We both
the
gonna be up
bedrock
soon.
of what
I'm
every
finna start streaming on
championship team
Kick too,
needs.
Josh.
He backs up every
Soon as
word
I
that
get to
comes
my
out
new
of his
setup.
mouth. He
Soon as I
doesn't
get to
make
my new setup, I'm
excuses.
gonna be
He
streaming on
leads
Kick.
by example, and he will do anything
I'm gonna be on
to
both
win. And this isn't just some reactionary take on the outcome of these games. Even if the Celtics won this series against the Heat, I still think the vastly talented duo of Tatum and Brown, like many other players, would have accomplished it off of sheer talent and possibly execution. But what happens when the shots stop falling? What happens when the defense figures you out and your bag isn't enough? What happens when it gets quiet and everyone's looking at you, waiting for an answer? Whenever a player or a team wins, the reaction is always the same. Excitement, joy, relief. But you might find out a lot more by paying attention to how a player reacts when they lose. You can't fake this. Are they genuinely upset? Are they hell-bent on getting better, being the best? Sure, there's not a single player who takes joy in losing, but what about the player who is tormented by loss? If a player lacks this quality, I'm not sure if talent will simply fill the gap. I don't know. There's just something about a player who cannot accept losing. You know it when you see it, and you sure as hell know it when you don't. Either that, or I'm just mad that the team that I bet on fell short of a championship for the second season in a row.
Exactly, Jimmy.
I
Fuck
hate
them
the Celtics.
Fuck them Celtics, Jimmy. Exactly. Don't ever bet on them bitch ass niggas again. W video. Subscribe, y'all.